Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. If you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then you can follow along in the book of Ephesians in the 5th chapter, beginning in the 2nd verse. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 2. Paul has just told us to be an imitator of God. And then he tells us in verse 2 that when we are imitating God, he says, you will and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, a fragrant offering and a sacrifice to God. This passage just builds on what he has already said here. As he said, be an imitator of God. Look like God. Well, how do we do that? We imitate God. We mimic God when we walk in love, in light, and in wisdom. Here's what he says here. We walk in love and love as God loved us. And he's going to go on and later in the chapter in verse 8 talk about in light, and verse 15 talk about in wisdom. But begins with, again, you can have all the wisdom in the world if you don't have love. Remember what 1 Corinthians says, just like without love you're like somebody banging on a cymbal. And so the first thing we do is we walk in love, and not just any ordinary love, not just some casual love. I've talked about this many times. Probably many of you have heard it. We have to be careful, in particular in America. We throw around the word love pretty loosely. We love candy, we love our mother-in-law, we love our grandmother, we love our dog, we love football, we love our wife, we love our children, we love our grandchildren. Well, I think everybody knows that between every one of those things I just mentioned, that there is a difference in the love. And so here he says, just so we know, you've probably had someone tell you, I love you, and then do some of the meanest, rottenest things in the world to you. Well, that's why he says we walk in love as Christ loved us. We love them the same. We love others the way that Christ loved us. Well, how did he love us? Tells us, then he goes on. He gave himself for us. He served us. He sacrificed for us. He went to the cross on our behalf, and it was a fragrant offering and a sacrifice to God. And so the lesson here that Paul is sharing with us is if we're going to imitate God, and I think probably most everybody that would go to the trouble to get up and get on the internet and listen to me for a few minutes talk about Scripture, you probably have a desire to imitate God. Well, you begin doing that by walking in love, by loving others as Christ loved you. We do that by looking for what's best for them, by looking and seeing how we can serve them, how we can do what's best for the other person rather than ourselves. I'm reminded, and I'm not going to tell the whole story, I'm going to abbreviate it real quick, but of the word joy, J-O-Y. How do you have real joy? By having J, Jesus first, O, others second, Y, yourself last. And when we do that, Paul says that is a fragrant offering that pleases God. Think about it. How many of you think of something that smells good? Maybe it's a fresh loaf of bread baking in the oven, or something cooking in the kitchen. You just get a whiff of it and think, oh man, that smells good. Well, our loving others and being sacrificial and serving others causes God to go, that smells good. All of us know that feeling. There's something about smells, and it's proven science that just can just kind of overwhelm us. And so it is just a fragrant smell to the Lord. He loves it when his people love each other the way he loved them. Go out there today and try that. Go out and see if you can't love someone, love others the way Christ loved you.